Did you hear what I was playing, Lane?
No, sir. Didn't reckon it polite to listen.
Oh, well, I am sorry for that. For your sake, I don't play accurately. Anybody can play accurately, but I do play with such wonderful expression. As far as the piano is concerned, sentiment is my forte. I like to save science for life.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and speaking of the science of life, have you got those, the hush puppies all prepared for Lady Bracknell?
Yes, sir, right over here.
Ah. Right. Lane, I can see from your books that last Thursday evening, when Mayor Shorman and Mr. Worthing were dining here, 8 bottles of moonshine or antidotes hadn't been consumed.
Yes, sir. 8 bottles. And the pipe.
Why is it, Lane, that at a bachelor's establishment the servants invariably drink the moonshine? I asked merely for information.
Well, sir, I'd say it's because of the better quality of the spirits. In married households, moonshine is early of a first-rate brand.
Good heavens, is marriage so demoralizing as that?
Well, I do believe it's a pleasant state, sir. Ain't had much experience of it myself. Only really been married once. Well, that was in consequence of kind of misunderstanding between myself and a young person.
I really don't know that I'm much interested in your family life, Lane.
No, sir. I'm very interested. Why, I rarely think about it myself.
Very natural, I'm certain. That'll do, Lane, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Lane's views on marriage seem, a little lax. I mean, really, the lower orders don't set us a good example. What on earth is the use of them? They seem as a class to have absolutely no sense of moral responsibility.
Mr. Ernest Worthing.
Well, how are you, my dear Ernest? What brings you up to town?
Oh, pleasure. Pleasure would else bring one anyway. Eating as usual, I see, Algernon.
I believe it is customary, in good society, to take some slight refreshment at 5 o'clock. Where have you been since last Thursday?
Oh, in the country.
What on earth do you always do out there?
Well, when you're in town, you amuse yourself. When you're in the country, you amuse other people. It's excessively boring.
Who are these people you amuse?
Neighbors.
Got nice neighbors out in your part of Kimball?
They're perfectly terrible. I never speak to one of them.
Oh, well, how immensely you must amuse them. By the way, Kimball is your county, is it not?
Oh, Kimball? Yeah, of course. Looky here. What is all of this? Cups and... Are those hush puppies? Let me ask you something, Algernon. Why such reckless extravagance from such a lonesome saloon? Who is coming here for a drink?
Oh, merely just Aunt Augusta. And Gwendolyn.
That's mighty fine.
Yes, I'm sure that's all very well, but I'm afraid that Aunt Augusta won't quite approve of your being here.
Well, why not?
My dear fellow, the way you flirt with Gwendolyn is perfectly disgraceful. It's almost as bad as the way she flirts with you.
Well, I'm in love with Gwendolyn. I came uptown expressly to propose to her.
Why, I thought you'd come up for pleasure. I call that business.
How utterly unromantic you are.
I really don't see anything romantic in proposing. Why, it's very romantic to be in love, but there's nothing romantic about a definite proposal. I mean, one may be accepted, one usually is, I believe. But then the excitement is all over. The very essence of romance is uncertainty. If I ever get married, I will certainly try to forget the fact.
I have no doubt about that, Algernon. The divorce court was made specially for people whose memories are so curiously constituted.
Oh, there's no use speculating on that subject. Divorces are made in heaven. Oh, no, please don't touch the hush puppies. You know, I had them ordered specially for Aunt Augusta.
Well, you've been eating them all the damn time.
Well, that is quite a different matter. Aunt Augusta is my aunt. You should have some of that bread and butter instead, you know? The bread and butter's for Gwendolyn. She's absolutely devoted to bread and butter.
Pretty good bread and butter it is, too.
Oh, well, you need not eat as if you were going to eat all of it. I mean, you behave as if you're married to her already. You're not married to her already, and I don't think you ever will be.
Why the hell did you say that?
Well, in the first place, girls never marry the men they flirt with. They don't think it right.
Oh, that is nonsense.
Oh, no, it's not. It's a great truth. It accounts for the extraordinary number of bachelors one sees all over the place. In the second place, I don't give my consent.
Your consent?
My dear fellow, Gwendolyn is my first cousin. And before I allow you to marry her, you are going to have to clear up the whole question of Cecily.
Cecily? What do you mean by that, Algernon? I don't know any... Excuse me. I don't know anyone in the name of Cecily. I don't know what you're talking about.
Lady, bring me that flask that Mr. Worthing left the last time he dined here.
Of course, sir.
Now, wait a damn minute. Do you mean to say that you've had my flash this whole time? I wish to goodness you would let me know. I've been writing frantic letters to the local police about it. I was very nearly offering a large reward.
Well, I wish you would offer one. I happen to be a little bit more than usually hard up.
There's no good offering a large reward now that the thing is found, Algernon.
Well, I think that's rather mean of you, Ernest, I must say.
There you go, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, however, it makes no matter at all, for now that I look at the inscription on it, I find that the thing isn't yours at all. Hey, Lane.
Wait a minute, of course it's mine. You see me with it near 100 times. Besides, it's a very ungentlemanly thing to read what's written on a private flask. It's not the sort of thing you should be doing.
Oh, it's absurd to have a hard and fast rule about what one should or shouldn't read. I mean, half of modern culture depends upon what one shouldn't read.
I don't propose we discuss modern culture. It's not the sort of thing you should talk of in private. I simply want my flask back.
Yes, but this is not your flask. This flask is a present from someone of the name of Cecily. And you said you didn't know anybody of that name.
Well, if you must know, Cecily happens to be my aunt.
Your aunt.
Yes, charming old lady she is too. Lives up at Rock Springs. Now just give it back to me, Algie.
Yes, but why does she call herself Little Cecily if she is your aunt who lives at Rock Springs? From little Cecily with her fondest love.
Algernon, what on earth is there in that? Some aunts are tall, some aunts are not tall. That surely is a matter that any aunt may be allowed to make up for herself. You seem to think that every aunt should be exactly like your aunt. Now that is absurd. Now for heaven's sake, give me back my flask.
Yes, but why does your aunt call you her uncle? From little Cecily with her fondest love to her dear uncle, Jack. There's no objection, I admit, to an aunt being a small aunt. But why an aunt, no matter what her size may be, should call her own nephew her uncle, I can't quite make out. Besides, her name isn't Jack at all, it's Ernest.
It isn't Ernest. It's Jack.
You have always told me it was Ernest. I've introduced you to everybody as Ernest. You answer to the name of Ernest. You look as though your name is Ernest. You know, you are the most earnest-looking person I've ever seen in my life. It's perfectly absurd you're saying your name isn't Ernest. It's on your cards. Here's one of them. Mr. Ernest Worthen, Lot 14, Upper Main Street. I shall keep this as proof that your name is Ernest if you ever attempt to deny it to me, or to Gwendolyn, or to anyone else.
Well, my name is Ernest in town and Jack in the country, and that flask was given to me in the country.
Okay, but that still does not account for the fact that your small Aunt Cecily, who lives at Rock Springs, calls you her dear uncle. Come on, old boy, you'd much better have the thing out at once.
Algernon, you talk exactly as if you were a dentist. Very vulgar thing to talk like a dentist when you ain't a dentist. It produces a false impression.
Well, that's exactly what dentists always do. Now, go on, tell me the whole thing. I may mention that I've always suspected you of being a confirmed and secret Bunburyist. I'm quite sure of it now.
Bunburyist? What the hell do you mean by that?
I will reveal to you the meaning of that incomparable expression as soon as you are kind enough to inform me why you are Ernest in town and Jack in the country.
Well, give me back my flask first.
Fine, here it is. Now, give me your explanation. And do make it improbable.
Algernon, I'm afraid that my explanation isn't improbable at all. In fact, it's perfectly ordinary. Old Mr. Thomas Cardew, who adopted me when I was just a little boy, made me in his will guardian to his granddaughter, Miss Cecily Cardew. Cecily, who addresses me as uncle for motives of respect, which you could not possibly appreciate, lives at my ranch in the country under the guard of admirable governess, Miss Prison.
Where is this place in the country, by the way?
That is nothing to you, dear boy. You are not going to be invited. I may tell you candidly, the place is not in Kimball.
Oh, well, I suspected that, my dear fellow. I mean, I've Bunburied all over Kimball on 2 separate occasions. Now, go on. Why are you Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
Algernon, I don't know if you will be able to really understand my true motives. You're hardly serious enough. When one is placed in the position of guardian, one has to take up a very high moral tone on all subjects. Well, it's one's duty to do so. Seeing as a high moral tone can hardly be said to be conducive to either one's health or happiness. In order to get up to town, I've always pretended to have a younger brother, the name of Ernest, who lives here in Cheyenne. Gets the most dreadful of scrapes. That, Algernon, is the whole truth, pure and simple.
The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Modern life would be quite tedious if it were either, and modern literature a complete impossibility.
That wouldn't be at all a bad thing, would it?
Literary criticism is not your forte, my dear fellow. Don't try it. You should leave that to people who haven't been at a university. They do such a marvelous job of it in the daily papers. What you really are is a Bunburyist. No, I was quite right in saying that you were a Bunburyist. I think you are one of the most advanced Bunburyists I know.
Algernon, what the hell are you talking about?
You have invented a very useful younger brother called Ernest in order that you may be able to come up to town as often as you like. Well, I have invented an invaluable permanent invalid called Bunbury in order that I may go down to the country whenever I choose. Oh, Bunbury is perfectly invaluable. I mean, if it wasn't for Bunbury's extraordinary bad health, for instance, I wouldn't be able to dine with you at Willis's tonight, for really I've been engaged to Aunt Augusta for more than a week.
Now, wait a minute. I haven't asked you to dine with me anywhere tonight.
Oh, well, I know that. You're absurdly careless about sending out invitations. It's very foolish of you. Nothing annoys somebody so much as not receiving invitations.
I think it would be much better if you dined with your Aunt Augusta tonight.
I haven't the smallest intention of doing anything of the kind. To begin with, I dine there on Monday, and once a week is quite enough to dine with one's own relations. In the second place, whenever I do dine there, I'm treated as a member of the family, and I'm either sent down with no woman at all, or two. In the third place, I know perfectly well who she will place me next to tonight. She will place me next to Mary Farker, who always flirts with her own husband across the dinner table.
Does she now?
It is not very pleasant. Indeed, it's not even decent. The amount of women in Cheyenne who flirt with their own husbands is perfectly scandalous. Oh, it looks so bad, you know? It's merely washing one's clean linen in public. Besides, now that I know you to be a confirmed Bunburyist, I naturally want to talk to you about Bunburying. I am going to tell you the rules.
I am not a Bunburyist at all. If Gwendolyn accepts me, I'm going to kill my brother. Indeed, I think I'll kill him at any rate. Cecily's getting a little too much attached to him. It's getting to be rather a bore. So, I'm going to kill my brother, Ernest. And you know, I strongly advise you to do the same with your invalid friend with the absurd name.
Nothing will induce me to part with Bunbury. And if you ever get married, which seems to me extremely problematic, you will be very glad to know Bunbury. Any man who marries without knowing Bunbury has a very tedious time of it.
Oh, that is nonsense. If I marry a sweet, charming girl like Gwendolyn, and you know, she is the only girl I ever saw in my life that I would marry, I certainly won't want to know Bunbury.
Then your wife will. You don't seem to realize, dear boy, that in married life, 3 is company, and 2 is none.
That, my dear young friends, is the theory that the corrupt French drama has been propounding for the last 50 years.
Yes, and that the happy American home has proved in just half of that time.
Oh, for heaven's sake, don't try to be cynical, Algernon. It's perfectly easy to be cynical.
Oh, it isn't easy to be anything nowadays. There's such beastly competition about it. That must be on Augusta. Only relatives or creditors ever show up so suddenly like that. Now, if I get her out of the way for 10 minutes so that you might have an opportunity of proposing to Gwendolyn, may I dine with you at Willis's tonight?
Yes, I suppose, if you really want to.
Yes, but you must be serious about it. I really hate people who are not serious about meals, you know, it's so shallow and bad.
Lady Bracknell, Miss Fairfax. Good afternoon, dear Algernon. I hope you are behaving well.
I'm feeling very well on Augusta.
That is not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Oh, well, dear me, aren't you smart?
I'm always smart. Am I not, Mr. Worthing?
You're quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
Oh, I hope I'm not that. It would leave no room for developments, and I intend to develop in many directions.
I am sorry if we are a little late, Algernon, but I was obliged to call on dear Lady Harbury. I hadn't been there since her poor husband's death. I'd never seen a woman so altered. She looked quite 20 years younger. And now I'll have a cup of tea and one of those nice hush puppies you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta.
Gwendolyn, won't you come sit over here?
Oh, thanks, Mama, but I'm quite comfortable where I am.
Lane? Why are there no hush puppies? I had them ordered specially.
There was no cornmeal down at the market, sir. Why, I checked twice.
No cornmeal.
No, sir. Not even for ready money.
That will do, Lane. Thank you.
You're welcome. Damn hush puppy.
I'm greatly distressed, August, about there being no hush puppies. Not even for ready money.
It really makes no matter, Algernon. I had some crumpets with Lady Harbury, who seems to me to be living entirely for pleasure now.
I hear her hair's turned quite gold from grief.
Certainly has changed color, from what cause I, of course, cannot say. Thank you. I've quite the treat for you tonight, Algernon. I am going to sit you down with Mary Barker. She is such a nice woman and so attentive to her husband. It is delightful to watch them.
I'm afraid, Augusta, that I shall have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight after all.
I hope not, Algernon. It would put my table completely out. Your uncle would have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he is accustomed to that.
Well, I need hardly say it's a great bore and a terrible disappointment to me. But the fact is that I've just had a telegram in from the country saying that my poor friend Bunbury is very ill again. They seem to think I should be with him.
It is very strange, as Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Yes, poor Bunbury's just a dreadful invalid.
Well, I must say, Algernon, I think it is high time Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he was going to live or die. This shilly-shally of the question is absurd, nor do I in any way approve of the modern sympathy with invalids. I consider it morbid. Illness of any kind is hardly a thing to be encouraged in others. I keep trying to tell that to your poor uncle, but he never seems to take much notice. As far as any improvement in his ailment goes. Well, I would be much obliged, Algernon, if you were to ask Mr. Bunbury from me not to have a relapse on Saturday, for I rely on you to arrange my music for me. It is my last reception, and one wants something that will encourage conversation, particularly at the end of a season when everyone has said practically everything they had to say, which in most cases was probably not much.
Oh, I'll speak to Bunbury on Augusta, and I think I can promise you he will be quite all right by Saturday. Now, the music is a terrible difficulty. You see, if one plays good music, people don't listen, and if one plays bad music, people don't talk. But I'll go over the program that I've drawn up for you if you will kindly step into the next room for a moment.
Thank you, Algernon. It is very thoughtful of you. The program should be delightful after a few expurgations. Hillbilly songs I cannot possibly allow. People always seem to think that they are improper and either look shocked, which is vulgar, or laugh, which is worse. But Appalachian sounds a thoroughly respectable dialect, and I indeed think it is. Gwendolyn, you will accompany me.
Oh, certainly, Mama.
Charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax.
Pray don't talk to me about the weather. Whenever people talk to me about the weather, I always feel quite certain that they mean something else.
Well, I do mean something else.
Oh, I thought so. In fact, I'm never wrong.
I'd like to be allowed to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
Well, I would certainly advise you to do so. Mama has a way of coming suddenly back into a room that I've often had to speak to her about.
Well, Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I've admired you more than any other girl I've ever met since I met you.
Yes, I'm quite well aware of the fact. In I often wish that, in public at any rate, you had been more demonstrative. For me, you've always had an irresistible fascination. Even before I met you, I knew I was far from indifferent to you. We live in an age of ideals, I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, and the fact is constantly mentioned in the more expensive monthly magazines and has reached the provincial pulpits, I am told. And my ideal has always been to love someone of the name Ernest. There's something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. The moment Algernon first mentioned to me he had a friend called Ernest, well, I knew I was destined to love him.
You really love me, Gwendolyn?
Passionately.
Darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Ernest.
But you don't mean to say that you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Ernest, right?
But that's silly. I mean, your name is Ernest.
Well, yes, I know it is, but supposing it was something else, you mean to say you couldn't love me then?
It was clearly a metaphysical speculation. And like most metaphysical speculations have very little reference to the very real facts of life as we know them.
Right, well, to speak quite candidly, darling, I don't much care for the name of Ernest. I don't think it suits me at all.
It suits you perfectly. It's a divine name. It has music to its own. It produces vibrations.
Well, really, Gwendolyn, I think that there are a lot of other much nicer names. I think Jack, for instance, be a charming name.
Jack?
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me. No. There is very little music in the name Jack, if any at all, indeed. I mean, it doesn't thrill, and it produces no vibrations.
Right.
The only really safe name is Ernest.
Gwendolyn, I must get christened at once. I mean, we must get married at once. There's no time to be lost.
Married, Mr. Worthing?
Well, surely. I mean, you know I love you, and you led me to believe, Gwendolyn, that you were not absolutely indifferent to me.
Well, I adore you, but you haven't proposed to me yet. Nothing has said at all about marriage. I mean, the subject hasn't even been touched on.
Well, can I propose to you now?
Yes, I think it'd be an admirable opportunity. And to save you any possible disappointment, I think it only fair to tell you quite frankly beforehand that I am fully determined to accept you.
Gwendolyn?
Yes, Mr. Worthing, what have you got to say to me?
Well, you know what I've got to say to you.
Yes, but you don't say it.
Gwendolyn, will you marry me?
Of course I will, darling. How long have you been about it? I'm afraid you've had very little experience in how to propose.
But my own one. I've never loved anyone in the world but you.
Oh, yes, I know, but, well, men often propose for practice. I know my brother Gerald doesn't. All my girlfriends tell me so. What wonderfully blue eyes you have, Ernest. They're quite blue. Hope you will always look at me just like that, especially when there are other people present.
Mr. Worthing! Rise, sir, from this semi-recumbent posture. It is most indecorous!
Oh, Mama, I must beg you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing hasn't quite finished yet.
Finished what, may I ask?
I'm engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mama.
You are nothing of the kind when you do become engaged. I or your father, should his health permit him, will inform you of the fact.
An engagement should come on a young girl as a surprise, pleasant or unpleasant as the case may be. It is hardly a matter that she should be allowed to arrange for herself. Now, I have a few questions to put to you, Mr. Worthen. While I'm making these inquiries, you, Gwendolyn, will wait for me below in the carriage.
But, Mama!
The carriage, Gwendolyn!
Yes, Mama.
Gwendolyn! The carriage!
Certainly, Mama.
You may have a seat, Mr. Worthen.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell, but I prefer standing. Right.
I feel bound to tell you that you are not on my list of eligible young men. I have the same list as the dear heiress of Jackson Hall has. We work together, in fact. However, I am quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke, Lady Bracknell.
I am pleased to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. There are far too many idle men on this lonesome prairie as it is. How old are you?
29, Lady Bracknell.
That is a very good age to be married at. I have always held the opinion that a man who desires to get married should either know everything or know nothing. Which do you know?
Well, I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I am glad to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like a delicate, exotic fruit. Touch it, and the bloom is gone. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Fortunately, in America at any rate, education produces no effect whatsoever. If it did, it would most likely lead to acts of violence like the War of Northern Aggression. What is your income?
Oh, between $7,000 and $8,000 a year.
In land or in investments?
Investments, chiefly.
That is satisfactory. Well, between the duties expected from one during one's lifetime and the duties exacted from one after one's death, land has ceased to be either a profit or a pleasure. It gives one position and prevents one from keeping it up. That's all that can be said about land.
I have a ranch with some land, of course, attached to it, around 1,500 acres or so, I believe. But I don't depend on that for my real income. As a matter of fact, as far as I can tell, the poachers are the only people that make anything out of it.
A ranch. How many bedrooms? Well, that point can be cleared up afterwards. You have a townhouse, I hope. A girl with a simple, unspoiled nature like Gwendolyn could hardly be expected to reside on a ranch.
Well, yes, I do have a townhouse, Lady Bracknell, on Upper Main Street, but it is let by the year to Lady Bloxham. Of course, I can get back whenever I like in around 6 months' notice.
Lady Bloxham. I don't know her.
Oh, well, she goes about very little. She's a lady considerably advanced in years.
Nowadays, that is no guarantee of respectability of character. What are your politics?
Oh, well, I'm afraid I don't really have any. I'm an entrepreneur.
Oh, that's conservative enough. They dine with us, or come in the evening at any rate. Now to minor matters. Are your parents living?
No, I've lost both my parents.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthen, may be considered a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. Who was your father? He was evidently a man of some wealth. Was he born in what the radical papers call the purple of commerce, or did he rise from the ranks of aristocracy?
Well, I'm afraid I really don't know, Lady Bracknell. I'd said that I'd lost both my parents. I suppose it would be nearer to the truth to say that they seem to have lost me. I don't actually know who I am by birth. I was found.
Found?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I was found. Old Mr. Thomas Cardew, an old gentleman, a very charitable and kindly disposition, found me and gave me the name Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket for Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing was a place a little ways north of here. It's a lakeside resort.
Where did this charitable gentleman with a first-class ticket to a lakeside resort find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell found me in a handbag, a rather large, brown leather handbag with some handles to it. It's an ordinary handbag, in fact.
And in what locality did this Mr. James or Thomas Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
The coat room at Depot Station was given to him mistake for his own.
The coat room at the depot station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
The line is immaterial. Mr. Worthing, I must confess, I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate bred, in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me to show contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life, and reminds one of the worst successes of the Cold Wars. And I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to. As for the particular locality in which it was found, the coat room at a railway station may be used to conceal a social indiscretion, has probably indeed been used for that purpose before now, and it is hardly a recognized basis for an assured position in good society.
Can I ask you what you advise me to do? I need hardly say I would do anything in the world to ensure Gwendolyn's happiness.
I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to acquire some relations as soon as possible and to come up with one parent of either sex before the season is quite over.
I don't see how I could possibly do that. I mean, I could produce the handbag at any moment at my dressing room back at my ranch. I really think that should satisfy you, Lady Bracknell.
Me, sir? What has this to do with me? You can hardly expect that I and Sheriff Bracknell would ever dream of allowing our only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care and respect, to marry into a coat room and form an alliance with a parcel. Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
Good morning. For heaven's sake, Algernon, stop playing that ghastly tune. How idiotic you are.
Oh, well, didn't it go off all right, old boy? Oh, you don't mean to say Gwendolyn refused you? I know it's a way she has. She's always refusing people. I think it is most ill-natured of her.
Gwendolyn's as right as a trivet. As far as she's concerned, we are engaged. Her mother, on the other hand, is perfectly unbearable. I never met such a gorgon. I don't really know what a gorgon is like, but I'm quite sure that Lady Bracknell is one. At any rate, she's a monster without being a myth, which is rather unfair. And begging your pardon, Algernon, I suppose I shouldn't talk that way about your relations in front of you.
My dear boy, I love hearing my relations abused. Indeed, it's the only thing that makes me put up with them at all. You know, relations are simply a tedious pack of people who haven't got the remotest knowledge on how to live, nor the smallest instinct on when to die.
Oh, that is nonsense.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Well, I won't argue about the matter. You always want to argue about things.
Well, that is exactly what things were originally made for.
Upon my word, if I thought that, I'd shoot myself. Say, Algernon, you don't think there's any chance of Gwendolyn becoming anything like her mother in 150 years or so, do you?
All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does. That is his.
Are you trying to be clever?
Oh, come on, it's perfectly phrased.
Right.
And quite as true as any observation in civilized life ought to be.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm sick to death of cleverness. Everybody is clever nowadays. It's become an absolute public nuisance. Wish to goodness we had a few good fools left.
Oh, we have.
Well, I should extremely like to meet them. Say, what do they talk about?
Oh, the fools?
Yeah.
Well, they talk about the clever people, of course.
What fools?
By the way, did you tell Gwendolyn the truth about your being Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
The truth isn't quite the sort of thing that you tell to a nice, sweet, refined girl like Gwendolyn. What ideas do you have about how to treat a woman?
The only way to treat a woman is to make love to her if she's pretty, and to someone else if she's plain.
Oh, that is nonsense.
Well, what about your brother then? Oh, what about the profligate Ernest?
Oh, before the end of the week, I've gotten rid of him, I suppose. I'll say he died in Winnipeg of apoplexy. Lots of people die quite suddenly of apoplexy, don't they?
Yes, but apoplexy is hereditary, my dear fellow. The sort of thing that runs in families.
Right.
I think you'd much rather say tuberculosis.
Now, are you sure that tuberculosis isn't the kind of thing that runs in families?
Well, of course it isn't.
All right then. My poor brother Ernest is carried off suddenly in Winnipeg by tuberculosis. That gets rid of him.
Oh, wait, but I thought you said that, Miss Cardew was a little too much attached to your poor brother Ernest. I mean, won't she feel his loss a good deal?
No, that's all right. Cecily's not a silly, romantic girl, I'm glad to say. She's got a capital appetite, goes on long walks, and, well, pays no attention at all to her lessons.
I would rather like to see Cecily.
I'll take very good care you never do. She's excessively pretty, and she's only just 18.
Oh, have you told Gwendolyn that you have an excessively pretty ward who's only just 18?
Oh, one doesn't just blurt these things out to people, Algernon. You know, Gwendolyn and Cecily are perfectly certain to be very good friends. You know something? I'll bet you anything you like that half an hour after they've met, they will be calling each other sister.
Women only do that after they've called each other a lot of other things first. Oh, now, if we want to get a good table at Willis's, we really must go in dress. I mean, did you know it's nearly 7?
Oh, it's always nearly 7.
Well, I'm hungry.
Well, I never knew you when you were.
Okay, well, what should we do after Willis's? We could go to a hoo-ha.
No. I hate sweating.
Oh, damn it. We could go to that new saloon over across town.
No, I hate talking.
Well, we could skip round to the shooting gallery at 10.
No, I hate squinting. You know that.
Well, what shall we do?
Nothing.
Oh, why, it's awfully hard work doing nothing.
Oh.
However, I don't mind hard work if there's no definite object of any kind.
Miss Fairfax.
Gwendolyn, upon my word.
Algie, time to turn your back. I have something very particular I must say to Mr. Worthing.
Really, Gwendolyn, I don't think I can allow this at all.
Algie, you've always adopted a strictly immoral attitude towards life, and you are not quite old enough to do that. Sit. Thank you.
Gwendolyn, my darling.
Ernest, we may never be married. From the expression on Mama's face, I fear we never shall. Few parents nowadays pay any regard to what their children say to them, and the old-fashioned for the respect, or the old-fashioned respect for the young is fast dying out. Whatever influence I ever had over Mama, I lost at the age of 3. But although she may prevent us from becoming man and wife, and I may marry someone else, and oh shoot, I may marry often, nothing that she can possibly do can alter my eternal devotion to you.
Well, Gwendolyn,
The story of your romantic origin as related to be my mama with unpleasing comments has naturally stirred the deeper fibers of my nature. Your Christian name has an irresistible fascination, and the simplicity of your character makes you exquisitely incomprehensible to me. Your town address in Cheyenne I have. What is your address in the country?
Iron Age Road, Lot 2.
There is a good postal service there, I suppose. It may be necessary to do something desperate. That of course will require serious consideration.
Gwendolyn.
How long do you remain in town?
Till Monday.
Good. Algie, you may turn round now.
Thanks, I'm round.
You may also ring the bell.
You'll let me see you out to your carriage, my own darling?
Certainly.
I will see Miss Fairfax out.
Yes, sir.
Glass of sherry, Lane.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow, Lane, I am going Bunburying.
Of course you are, sir.
I should probably not be back till Monday so you can put up all my dress clothes, smoking jacket, and all the Bunbury suits.
Yes, sir.
I hope tomorrow will be a fine day, Lane.
Never is.
Lane, you are a perfect pessimist.
Well, I do my best, please.
There's a sensible, intellectual girl. The only girl I'd ever marry in my whole life. What on earth are you so amused at?
Oh, me nothing. I'm just a little anxious about poor Bunbury, that's all.
Let me tell you something, Algernon. If you're not too careful, that friend Bunbury of yours is going to get you into a serious scrape one of these days.
Oh, I love scrapes. They are the only things that are never serious.
That is nonsense, Algernon. You know, you never talk anything but nonsense.
Nobody ever does.
Cecily! Cecily! Surely such a grimy occupation of watering up the flowers is a gardener's duty than yours. Especially at a moment when intellectual pleasures await you. Your German grammar is on the table. Pray to open at page 15. We will repeat yesterday's lesson.
But I don't like German. It isn't at all a becoming language. I know perfectly well I look quite plain after my German lesson.
Child, you know how anxious your guardian is that you should improve yourself in every way. He laid particular stress on your German as he was leaving for town yesterday. Indeed, he always lays stress on your German as he's leaving for town.
Uncle Jack is so very serious. Sometimes he is so serious I think he cannot be quite well.
Your guardian enjoys the best of health, and his gravity of demeanor is especially to be commended in one so comparatively young as he is. I know no one who has a higher sense of duty and responsibility.
Suppose that is why he often looks a little bored when we three are together.
Cecily, I am surprised at you. You must remember his constant anxieties about that unfortunate young man, his brother.
I wish Uncle Jack would allow that unfortunate young man, his brother, to come down here sometime. I mean, we might have a good influence over him. Miss Prism, I'm sure you certainly would. I mean, you know, German and geology and things of that kind that influence a man very much.
I do not think that even I could produce any effort on a man that, according to his own brother's mission, is irretrievably weak and vacillating. Indeed, I am not so sure I would desire to claim him. As a man sows, so let him reap. You must put away that diary, Cecily. I don't see why you should be keeping one at all.
I keep a diary in order to enter the wonderful secrets of my life. If I didn't write them down, I should probably just forget all about them.
Memory, my dear Cecily, is the diary we all keep about with us.
Yes, but it usually chronicles the things that haven't happened and couldn't possibly have happened. I believe that memory is responsible for nearly all the 3-volume novels that Moody sends us.
Do not speak slightingly of the 3-volume novel, Cecily. I wrote one myself in the earlier days.
Did you really, Miss Prism? How wonderfully clever you are. I hope it did not end happily. I don't like novels that end happily. They depress me so much.
The good ended happily, and the bad unhappily. That is what fiction means.
I suppose so, but it seems rather unfair. Was your novel ever published?
Alas, no. The manuscript was unfortunately abandoned. I use the word in the sense of lost or misled. To your work, child, these speculations are profitless.
But I see dear Dr. Chasuble coming up.
Dr. Chasuble, this is indeed a pleasure.
And how are we today? Miss Prism, you are, I trust, well.
Miss Prism has just been complaining of a slight headache. I think it would do her so much good to have a stroll with you in the park, Dr. Chasuble.
Cecily, I have mentioned nothing about a headache.
I know that, Miss Prism, but I instinctively felt that you had a headache. Indeed, that was what I was thinking about, and not my German, when the rector came in.
I hope, Cecily, you are not inattentive.
Oh, I'm afraid I am.
That is strange. Were I fortunate enough to be Miss Prism's pupil, I would hang upon her lips. I spoke metaphorically. My metaphor was drawn from the bees. Mr. Worthen, I suppose, has not returned from town yet?
We do not expect him till Monday afternoon.
I see. He usually likes to spend his Sundays in Cheyenne. He's not one whose sole aim is enjoyment, as that unfortunate young man, his brother, seems to be. Well, I must not disturb Egeria and her pupil any longer.
Egeria. Doctor, my name is Letitia.
A classical allusion, merely, drawn from the pagan authors. I shall see you both, no doubt, at evensong.
I find, dear doctor, that I do have a headache after all. A walk might do us some good.
With pleasure, Miss Prism. We might go as far as the schools and back.
That would be delightful. Cecily, in my absence, you will read up on your political economy. The chapter is on the fall of Rupert. It is somewhat too sensational. Even those metallic problems have their melodramatic sides.
Hard political economy, hard geography, hard German!
Mr. Ernest Worthen has just arrived from the station. He has brought his luggage with him and he's making his way through the barn right now.
Mr. Ernest Worthen, B4, the Albany W. Uncle Jack's brother? Did you tell him Mr. Worthen was in town?
Yes, miss. He seemed very much disappointed. I mentioned that you and Miss Prism were out here, and he said he was very anxious to speak to you privately for a moment.
Ask Mr. Ernest Worthen to come out here. I suppose you better talk to the housekeeper about a room for him.
Yes, ma'am.
I've never met any really wicked person before. I feel rather frightened. I'm so afraid he will look just like everyone else. He does.
You are my little cousin Cecily, I'm sure.
You must be under some misconception. I'm not little, in fact. I believe I'm more than usually tall for my age. But yeah, I'm your cousin Cecily. You, I saw from your recorder, Uncle Jack's brother, my cousin Ernest, my wicked cousin Ernest.
I'm not really wicked at all, Cecily. You really mustn't think that I'm wicked.
If you're not, then you have been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner. Pretending to be wicked and being really good all the time, that would be hypocrisy.
Well, of course, I've been rather reckless.
I'm glad to hear it.
In fact, now that you mention the subject, I have been quite bad in my own small way. Oh, thank you.
I don't think you should be so proud of that, though I'm sure it must have been pleasant.
Why, it's much pleasanter being here with you.
I can't understand how you're here at all. Uncle Jack won't be back till Monday afternoon.
Oh, that is a great disappointment. I'm obliged to go up by the first train on Monday morning. I've got a business arrangement that I'm anxious to miss.
Couldn't you miss it anywhere but in Cheyenne?
Nope, unfortunately, the appointment is in Cheyenne.
I understand the importance of not upholding a business engagement if one wants to retain any sense of the beauty of life. But still, I think you better wait till Uncle Jack arrives. I know he wants to talk to you about your emigrating.
My what?
You're emigrating. He has gone up to buy your outfit.
Oh, well, I certainly won't let Jack buy my outfit. I mean, the man's got absolutely no taste in neckties at all.
I don't think you'll require neckties. Uncle Jack is sending you to Australia.
Australia? I'd sooner die.
Well, he said at dinner on Wednesday night that you'd have to choose between this world, the next world, and Australia.
Well, the accounts that I've received of the next world, and Australia for that matter, haven't been particularly encouraging. This world's good enough for me, Cecily.
Yes, but are you good enough for it?
I'm afraid I'm not quite. That is why I want you to reform me. You might make that your mission if you don't mind, Cousin Cecily.
I'm afraid I've got no time this afternoon.
Oh, well, then would you mind my reforming myself this afternoon?
It's rather quixotic of you, but I think you should try.
I certainly will. I feel better already.
You're looking a little worse.
Well, that is because I am hungry.
How thoughtless of me. I should have remembered that when one is going to lead an entirely new life, one requires regular and wholesome meals. Won't you come in?
Yes, thank you, but before we go in, may I have a buttonhole first?
A Marshall Neal?
No, I'd sooner have a pink rose.
Why?
Well, because you are like a pink rose, Cousin Cecily.
I don't think it is right for you to talk to me like that. I mean, Miss Prism never says such things.
Well, then Miss Prism is a short-sighted old lady. You are the prettiest girl I ever saw.
Miss Prism says that all good looks are a snare.
Well, they're a snare that every sensible man would like to be caught in.
I wouldn't want to catch a sensible man. I shouldn't know what to talk to him about.
You are too much alone, dear Dr. Chasuble. You should get married. A man can throw I could understand. A woman throw never.
Believe me, I do not deserve so neologistic a phrase. The precept as well as the practice of the primitive church was distinctly against matrimony.
That is obviously the reason why the primitive church has not lasted up to the present day. And you do not seem to realize, dear doctor, that by persistently remaining single, a man converts himself into a permanent public temptation. This very celibacy leads weaker vessels astray.
But isn't a man equally as attractive when married?
No married man is ever attractive except to his wife.
And sometimes I'm told not even to her.
That depends on the intellectual sympathies of the woman. Maturity can be depended on. Ripeness can be trusted. Young women are green. I speak horticulture. My metaphor was drawn from the fruits. Where is Cecily?
Perhaps she followed us to the schools?
Mr. Worthen?
Mr. Worthen.
This is indeed a surprise. We did not look for you till Monday afternoon.
I returned sooner than I expected. Dr. Chasuble, I trust you are well.
Mr. Worthen, I hope this garb of woe does not betoken some terrible calamity.
My brother.
More shameful debts and extravagance.
Still leading his life of pleasure.
Dead.
Your brother Ernest, dead?
Quite dead.
So let this be a lesson for him. I trust you will profit by it.
Oh, Mr. Worthen, I offer you my sincere condolence. You have at least the consolation of knowing that you were always the most generous and forgiving of brothers.
Poor Ernest. He had many faults, but it is a sad, sad blow.
Very sad indeed. Were you with him at the end?
No, he died abroad in Winnipeg, in fact. I received a telegram from the inn there just last night.
Was the cause of death mentioned?
Tuberculosis, it seems.
As a man sows, so let him reap.
Charity, dear Miss Prism, charity. None of us are perfect. I myself had tuberculosis in my younger years before I turned to the Lord. Will the interment be taking place here?
No, he seemed to express the desire to be buried in Winnipeg.
In Winnipeg? That hardly points to any serious state of mind at the last. You will no doubt wish for me to make some slight allusion to this tragic domestic affliction next Sunday. My sermon on the meaning of the manna in the wilderness can be adapted to almost any occasion, joyful or, as in the present case, distressing. I've preached at harvest ceremonies, christenings, confirmations, days of humiliation, and feastal days. The last time I delivered it was at the cathedral as a charity sermon on behalf of the Society for Prevention of Discontent among the Upper Orders. The bishop who was present was much struck by many of the analogies I drew.
I think you mentioned christenings, Doctor. I suppose you know how to christen all right. I mean to say, you are continually christened, are you not?
It is, I regret to say, one of the rector's most important duties in this parish. I've often spoken to the poorer classes on the subject, but they do not seem to know what thrift is.
Is there any particular infant in which you are interested, Mr. Worthen? Your brother was unmarried, was he not?
Oh, yes, he was.
People who live entirely for pleasure usually are.
But it is not for any child, dear Doctor. I'm particularly fond of children. No, as a matter of fact, I would like to be christened myself this afternoon. You've nothing better to do.
But surely, Mr. Worthen, you have been christened already.
Well, I don't remember anything about it.
But have you any grave doubts on the subject?
I certainly intend to have. I mean, of course it wouldn't offend you in any way, Doctor, with me being a little older or something of the like?
Not at all. The sprinkling and indeed the immersion of adults is a perfectly canonical practice.
Beg your pardon, Doctor, you said immersion?
You need have no apprehensions. The sprinkling is all that is necessary, or in fact, I deem advisable. Our weather, it's so changeable. Now, at what time do you want this ceremony to be performed?
Oh, well, I think I might trot round about 5 or so. That would suit your liking?
Perfectly, perfectly. In fact, I have 2 similar ceremonies to perform at that time. A case of twins occurred on one of the outlying cottages on your property. Poor Jenkins, that hard-working man.
Well, I don't see much fun in being christened along with other babies. That would be childish. Would 5:30 do?
Admirably, admirably.
Thank you kindly.
And now, Mr. Worthen, I will not intrude any longer into a house of sorrow. I would just pray you not be too bowed down by grief. What seem to us to be bitter, bitter trials are often blessings in disguise from our Lord above.
This seems to be blessings of extremely obvious kind.
Uncle Jack! Oh, I'm pleased to see you back. But what horrid clothes you've got on. Do go and change them.
Cecily!
My child.
Uncle Jack, you look happy. You look as if you got a toothache. Boy, do I have a surprise for you. Guess who was in the dining room? Your brother.
What?
Your brother Ernest? He arrived about half an hour ago.
What nonsense. I haven't got a brother.
Don't say that. No matter how bad he has treated you in the past, he is still your brother. Couldn't be so heartless as to disown him. I'll go get him, and you'll shake hands with him, won't you, Uncle Jack?
Well,
These indeed are joyful tidings.
After we all been resigned to his loss, his sudden return seems to me to be particularly distressing.
My brother's in the dining room. I don't know what it means. You know, I think this is perfectly absurd. Good heavens.
Brother John, I have come down from town to tell you how very sorry I am for how I've behaved in the past, that I intend to lead a better life in the future.
Uncle Jack, you are not going to refuse your own brother's hand.
Nothing will make me take his hand. I think his coming up here is perfectly disgraceful. He knows damn well why.
Uncle Jack, you be nice. Some good in everyone. Ernest has just been telling me about his poor invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, who he goes to visit so often. Of course, there must be some good in someone who leaves the pleasures of Cheyenne to sit by a bed of pain.
So he's been talking to you about Bunbury, has he?
Yes, he has told me all about poor Mr. Bunbury and his terrible state of health.
Bunbury. Well, I won't have him talking to you about Bunbury nor anything else. It's enough to drive one perfectly insane.
Well, of course, I admit that all the faults were on my side.
You damn right.
However, I must say that I think Brother John's coldness towards me is particularly painful. I expected a more enthusiastic welcome, especially considering it's the first time I have come here.
Uncle Jack, you don't shake hands with Ernest right now. I will never forgive you.
Never forgive me?
Never, never, never!
Fine. This is the last time I will ever do it.
It is pleasant, is it not, to see so perfect a reconciliation? I propose we leave these two brothers alone.
Cecily, you will come with us.
Certainly, Miss Prism, my little task of reconciliation is over.
You have done a beautiful act today, my child.
We mustn't be premature in our judgments.
I feel very happy.
Algernon, you young scoundrel, you must get out of this place at once. I don't allow any Bunbury in here.
I've put Mr. Ernest's luggage in the room next to your own, sir. I suppose that is all right.
His what?
Mr. Ernest's luggage, sir. I have unpacked it and put it in the room next to your own.
His luggage now.
Yes, sir. 3 barrels, a dressing case, 2 hat boxes, and a large luncheon basket.
I'm afraid that I can't stay for more than a week this time.
Mr. Merriman, please order the dog cart at once. Mr. Worthing has just been called back to town.
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, what a fearful liar you are, Jack. I've not been called back to town at all.
Yes, you have.
Well, I haven't heard anyone call me.
Your duty as a gentleman calls you back.
My duty as a gentleman has never interfered with my pleasures in the slightest.
Well, I can quite understand that.
Well, Cecily is a darling.
You are not to talk of Miss Cardew like that. I don't like it.
Well, I don't like your clothes.
Oh, not this again.
You look perfectly ridiculous in them. I mean, why don't you just go upstairs and change? It's perfectly childish to be in deep mourning for a man who's actually staying with you for a whole week in your own house as a guest.
You are certainly not staying at my house for a whole week as a guest, nor anything else. You've got to leave by the next train out of here.
Well, I certainly won't leave you so long as you're in mourning. It would be most unkind of me. You would stay with me if I was in mourning, I should think. It would be very unfriendly if you didn't.
Well, will you go if I change my clothes?
Yes, but do be quick about it. I've never seen anybody take so long to dress, and with such little result.
Well, at any rate, that's better than being always overdressed as you are.
If I am occasionally a little overdressed, I make up for it by being always immensely overeducated.
Overeducated. Let me tell you something, Algernon. Your vanity is ridiculous. Your conduct and outrage in your presence at my ranch utterly absurd. However, got to catch the next train out of here, and I hope you have a very pleasant journey back to Cheyenne. This bun-burying, as you call it, has not been a great success for you.
I think it's been a great success. I'm in love with Cecily, and that is everything. However, I must see her before I go and make arrangements for another Bunbury. Oh, well, there she is.
I merely came to water the roses. I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
Oh, he's gone to order the dog cart for me.
Is he gonna take you for a nice drive?
No, he's going to send me away.
Then have we got to part?
I'm afraid so. It's a very painful party.
It is always very painful to part with people whom one has just met. The absence of old friends one can endure with equanimity. But still, even a momentary separation from someone who one has just been introduced is almost unbearable.
Oh, thank you.
The dog cart is at the door, sir.
It can wait, Meerman, for 5 minutes. Leave!
Sorry!
I hope that I shall not offend you, Cecily, by stating quite frankly and openly that you seem to me to be in every way the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. If you allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
Oh, do you really keep a diary? I'd give anything to look at it, may I?
Oh, no. You see, a diary is simply a very young girl's record of her own thoughts and impressions, consequently meant for publication. When it appears in volume form, I hope you order a copy. But pray, Ernest, don't stop. I delight in taking down from diction. I have reached absolute perfection. You can go on. I'm quite ready for more. Oh, don't cough, Ernest. When one is dictating, one should speak fluently and not cough. Besides, I don't know how to spell a cough.
Right. Cecily, ever since I have first looked upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, devotedly, passionately, and hopelessly.
I don't think it is right for you to tell me that you love me wildly, devotedly, passionately, hopelessly. Hopelessly doesn't really make sense, does it?
Oh, Cecily!
The dog cart is at the door, sir.
Oh, tell it to come round next week at the same hour.
Bye!
Sorry, ma'am.
Uncle Jack would be much annoyed if he knew you were staying around till next week at the same hour.
Oh, I don't care about Jack. Why, I don't care for anybody in the whole world but you. I love you, Cecily. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy, why of course! We have been engaged for the last 3 months.
The last 3 months?
Yes, it'll be exactly 3 months on Thursday.
But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very wicked and bad, you, of course, have formed the chief topic of conversation between myself and Miss Prism. And, of course, a man who is much talked about is always very attractive. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you, Ernest.
Oh, darling. And when was the engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of February last. Worn out by your entire ignorance of my existence, I determined to end the matter one way or another. So I accepted you in this dear barn here. Next day, I went out and I bought this little bangle and the little ring in your name with the true lover's knot you promised always to wear.
Did I give you these? Well, they're quite pretty, aren't they?
Yes, you have wonderful good taste, Ernest. It's the excuse I've always given you for leading such a bad life. Oh, and this is the box in which I keep all your dear letters.
Why, my letters? But my own sweet, loving little Cecily, I've never written you a single letter.
Hardly need to remind me of that, Ernest. I remember only too well I was forced to write letters for you. I wrote 3 times a week and sometimes oftener. Oh, the 3 you wrote me after I'd broken off the engagement were so beautiful and so badly spelled that I can hardly read them without crying a little.
Wait, but was our engagement ever broken off?
Of course it was. On the 22nd of last March. You can see the entry if you'd like. Today I broke off my engagement with Ernest. I feel it is better to do so. The weather still continues charming.
But why on earth did you break it off? Cecily, what had I done? Well, I don't think I'd done anything at all. Cecily, I'm very much hurt indeed to hear that you broke it off. Particularly when the weather was so charming.
Well, it would have hardly been a serious engagement if it hadn't been broken off at least once. But I forgave you before the week was out.
What a perfect angel you are, Cecily.
You romantic boy. I hope your hair curls naturally, does it?
It does, darling, with a little help from others.
I'm so glad.
You'll never break off our engagement again, will you, Cecily?
I don't think I could now that I've actually met you. Besides, there is the question of your name.
Right, my name, of course.
You must not laugh at me, darling, but it has always been a girlish dream of mine to love somebody by the name of Ernest. There's something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband is not called Ernest.
But do you mean to say you could not love me if I had some other name?
But what name?
Oh, any name you like. What about, Algernon, for instance?
I hate the name of Algernon.
Oh. Well, my own sweet, loving little Cecily, I really don't see why you should object to the name of Algernon. I mean, it's not at all a bad name. I think it's a rather aristocratic name. Half the chaps who get into the bankruptcy court are called Algernon. But seriously, Cecily, if my name were Alger, could you not love me?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character, but I fear I should not be able to give you my undivided attention.
Cecily, your rector here is, I suppose, thoroughly experienced in all of the rites and ceremonials of the church.
Oh, yes. Dr. Chesbell is a most learned man. He's never written a single book, so you can imagine how much he knows.
I must see him at once on a most important christening. On most important business.
Oh.
I should be away for more than half an hour.
Well, considering that we've been engaged for the last 3 months and we've only met today for the first time, I think it is hard that you should leave me so long a period as half an hour. Make it 20 minutes.
I'll be back in no time.
What an impetuous boy he is. I like his hair so much. I must enter his proposal into my diary.
Miss Fairfax has just called to see Mr. Worthing on very important business, Miss Fairfax has stated.
You tell her Mr. Worthing was in the library?
Mr. Worthing went in the direction of the rectory some time ago.
Ask the lady to come out here. You can bring tea.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Fairfax, I suppose one of the many good elderly women associated with Uncle Jack and his charity work in Cheyenne. I don't like women who are interested in charity work. It's so bored of them.
Miss Fairfax?
Pray let me introduce myself. My name is Cecily Cardew.
Cecily Cardew. What a very sweet name. Something tells me that we are going to be great friends. I like you already more than I can say. My first impressions of people are never wrong.
How nice of you to like me after only knowing me such a comparatively short time. Pray sit down.
I may call you Cecily, may I not?
With pleasure.
And you will always call me Gwendolyn, won't you?
If you wish.
Then that is all quite settled then, is it not?
I'd hope so.
Perhaps this might be a favorable opportunity for my mentioning who I am. My Pops is Sheriff Bracknell. You haven't heard of Pops, I suppose?
I don't think so.
Outside the family circle, Pops, I'm glad to say, is entirely unknown. And I think that it is quite as it should be. The home seems to me to be the proper sphere for a man. And certainly once a man begins to neglect his domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, does he not? And I don't think I should like that. It makes men so attractive. Cecily, Mama, whose views on education are remarkably strict, has brought me up to be extremely short-sighted. It is a part of her system. So do you mind me looking at you through my glasses?
Not at all, Gwendolyn. I'm very fond of being looked at.
You are here on a short visit, I suppose.
No, I live here.
Really? Your mother, no doubt, or some female relative of advanced years resides here also?
No, I have no mother, nor in fact any relations.
Indeed.
My dear guardian, with the assistance of Miss Prism, has the arduous task of looking after me.
Your guardian?
Yes, I'm Mr. Worthen's ward.
Oh? It's strange he never mentioned to me he had a ward. How secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly. I'm not sure, however, that the news inspires me with feelings of unmixed delight. Cecily, I have liked you ever since I met you, but I'm bound to state that now that I know you are Mr. Worthen's ward, I cannot help expressing a wish that you were, well, just a little older than you seem to be, and not quite so alluring in appearance. In fact, if I may speak candidly,
Pray do. I think that whenever one has something unpleasant to say, one should always be quite candid.
well, to speak with perfect candor, Cecily, I wish that you were fully 42 and more than usually plain for your age. You see, Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He is the very soul of truth and honor, and disloyalty would be as impossible to him as deception. But even men of the noblest possible moral character are extremely susceptible to the influence of the physical charms of others. Modern, no less than ancient history supplies us with many most painful examples of what I refer to. If it were not so, indeed, history would be quite unreadable.
I beg your pardon, Gwendolyn. Did you say Ernest?
Yes, I did.
It is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Oh, he never mentioned to me he had a brother.
I'm sorry to say that they have not been on good terms for a long time.
Ah, that accounts for it. And now that I think of it, I have never heard of any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind while I was growing almost anxious. It would have been terrible if any cloud had come across a friendship like ours, would it not? Of course, you are quite sure that it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is your guardian?
Quite sure. In fact, I'm going to be his.
I beg your pardon.
There's no reason why I should make a secret of it to you. Our little county newspaper is sure to chronicle the fact by next week. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
Cecily, there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest proposed to me yesterday afternoon. All right? The newspaper will surely notify you on the Sunday, excuse me.
There must be some mistake, Gwendolyn. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
It is certainly very strange. He proposed to me yesterday afternoon, like I said, at 5:30. If you would care to verify the incident, pray do so. Also, don't wreck my diary. One should always have something sensational to read on the train.
It would distress me that I can tell you that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly changed his mind.
Do you allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous. On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than a moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure.
Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is no time for the shallow mask of manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
Oh, I am glad to see that I have never seen a spade. It is obvious that our social spheres have been widely different.
Can I lay the tea here as usual, ma'am?
Yes, as usual.
Are there any interesting trails in the vicinity, Miss Cardew?
Oh yes, a great many. From the top of the hills, one can see 5 counties.
Oh, 5 counties. I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds.
I suppose that is why you live in town.
Quite a well-kept garden this is, Miss Cardew.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea there were any flowers in the country.
Oh yes, Miss Fairfax, flowers are as common here as people are in Cheyenne.
I have no idea how anybody exists in the country. If anybody is, who anybody does. The country always bores me to death.
This is what the newspapers call agricultural depression, is it not? I believe it's almost an epidemic amongst them. So I've been told. May I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thank you, detestable girl, but I require tea.
Sugar?
No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Pie or biscuits?
Biscuits, please. Pie is rarely seen at the houses, best houses nowadays.
Hand that to Miss Fairfax.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't spill it.
Oh, thank you, darling. You have put sugar in my tea, and although I asked most distinctively for biscuits, you have given me pie. I'm known for the gentleness of my disposition and the sweetness of my nature, but I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
To save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the maledications of any other girl, there are no lengths to which I would not go.
I cannot believe you. First you give me pie, and then you claim that Ernest is yours.
I have no doubt, Miss Fairfax, that I am trespassing on your valuable time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that you have many other calls of a similar character
Oh.
to make in the neighborhood.
Gwendolyn?
Ernest, my own Ernest.
Gwendolyn, my darling.
A moment. May I ask if you are engaged to be married to this young lady?
To dear little Cecily? Mm-hmm. Of course not. Could have put such an idea into your pretty little head.
Thank you. You may.
Gwendolyn, I knew there must be some misconception. The gentleman whose arm is at present round your waist is my guardian, Mr. John Worthen.
I beg your pardon?
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack? Oh, no.
There's Ernest. Ernest.
Oh, my own love.
Moment, Ernest, may I ask, are you engaged to be married to that old lady over there?
What old lady? Well, good heavens, Gwendolyn.
Yes, to Gwendolyn, yes.
Oh, well, of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you, you may.
Cecily, I knew there was some slight error. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief? Ugh! Are you called Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Oh my God.
Is your name really John?
I could deny it if I like. Could deny anything if I like. But yes, my name certainly is John. It's been John for years.
Gross deception has been practiced on the both of us.
My poor wounded Cecily!
How sweet wrong, Gwendolyn.
You will call me sister, won't you?
There's just one question I would like to be allowed to ask my guardian.
An admirable idea. Mr. Worthen, where is your brother Ernest? We are both engaged to be married to your brother Ernest, so it is quite important to us to know where your brother Ernest is at present.
Gwendolyn, Cecily, it's very difficult for me to be forced to speak the truth to you. First time in my life I've ever been reduced to such a position, and I really have no experience in the matter, but... Well, I have no brother Ernest. I have no brother at all. I've never had a brother in my entire life, and I have no small intention of having one in the future.
You have no brother at all?
No, not one.
Not even one of any kind?
No, not even of any kind.
I'm afraid it is quite clear, Cecily, that neither of us are engaged to be married to anyone.
It's not a very pleasant position for a young girl to suddenly find herself in, is it?
Let us go into the house. They will not venture in after us there.
Hardly not. Men are so cowardly, aren't they?
This ghastly state of affairs is what you call bunburying, I suppose.
Yes, it is. And a perfectly wonderful Bunbury at that. The most wonderful Bunbury I think I've ever had in my life.
Well, you have no right to bunbury here.
Oh, well, one has a right to Bunbury anywhere one chooses. Better serious Bunburys knows that.
A serious bunbury, good heavens.
Oh, why, one must be serious about something if one wants to have any enjoyment in life. I happen to be serious about Bunburying. What on earth you're serious about, I haven't got the remotest idea. About everything, I should fancy. You know, you have such an absolutely trivial nature.
Well, the only small satisfaction I can take in the whole of this mess is that your friend Bunbury is quite exploded. Won't be able to come down to the country quite so often as he used to, Algernon. Quite a good thing, too.
Well, your brother's looking a little off color, isn't he, dear Jack? You won't be able to disappear to Cheyenne quite so frequently as your wicked custom was. And not a bad thing, either.
As for your conduct toward Miss Cardew, I have to say that your taking in a sweet, simple, innocent girl like that is quite inexcusable. To say nothing of the fact that she is my ward.
can see no possible defense at all for your deceiving a brilliant, clever, thoroughly experienced young lady like Miss Fairfax. To say nothing of the fact that she's my cousin.
I wanted to be engaged to Gwendolyn, that is all. I love her.
Well, I simply wanted to be engaged to Cecily. I adore her.
Well, there's no chance of you marrying Cecily.
I don't think there's much likelihood, Jack, of you and Miss Fairfax being united.
Well, that is no business of yours.
If it was my business, I wouldn't talk about it. It's a very vulgar thing to talk about one's business. Only people like stockbrokers do that, and then merely at dinner parties.
How you can stand here calmly eating muffins is beyond me. You know, you seem to me to be perfectly heartless.
Well, I can't eat muffins in an agitated manner.
Excuse me.
The crumbs would probably get in my cuffs. One should always eat muffins quite calmly. It's the only way to eat them.
I say it's perfectly heartless of you to eat muffins under the circumstances.
When I'm in trouble, eating is the only thing that consoles me. Indeed, when I'm in really great trouble, as anybody who knows me intimately will tell you, I refuse everything except food and drink. Yikes, that's very sweet. At the present moment, I am eating muffins because I am unhappy. Besides, I told you I was particularly fond of muffins.
Well, you have no right to eat them all in that greedy way.
I wish you would. I wish you would have tea cake instead. I don't like tea cake.
Good heavens, I suppose a man may eat his own muffins at his own ranch?
But you just said it was perfectly heartless to eat muffins.
No, I said it was perfectly heartless of you under the circumstances. That is a very different thing.
That may be. But the muffins are the same.
Algernon, I wish to goodness you would go.
You can't possibly ask me to go without having some dinner first. I never go without my dinner. It's absurd. Nobody ever does except for, oh, where'd that tea get out? For the vegetarians and people like that. Besides, I just made arrangements with Dr. Chasm, christened at 5:45 under the name of Ernest.
My dear fellow, the sooner you give up on this whole business, the better. I've already made plans with Dr. Chasm to be christened at 5:30, and I naturally will take the name of Ernest. Gwendolyn would wish it. We both can't be christened Ernest. That would be absurd. Besides, I have every right in the world, I think, to be christened if I want to, and so does Dr. Chasm. Your case is entirely different, on the other hand. You've already been christened before.
Oh, yes, but I have not been christened for years.
Yes, but you have been christened. That is the important thing.
Well, quite so. I know my constitution can stand it. I must say, if you are not quite sure about your ever having been christened before, I think it's rather dangerous you're venturing on it now. It might make you very unwell. You can hardly have forgotten that someone very closely connected with you was very nearly carried off this week in Winnipeg by tuberculosis.
Yes, but you said that tuberculosis wasn't hereditary or anything like that.
Oh, well, it usedn't to be, I know. But I dare say it is now. Science is always making such wonderful improvements in things.
That is nonsense, Algernon. You never talk anything but nonsense.
Jack, you are at the muffins again. I really wish you wouldn't. There are only 2 left. Besides, I told you I was particularly fond of muffins.
But I hate tea cake.
Then why on earth do you allow tea cake to be served up for your guests? What ideas you have of hospitality.
Algernon, I already asked you to go. I don't want you here. Why don't you go?
I haven't quite finished my tea yet. And there's still 1 muffin left.
they did not follow us into the house as anyone else would have done seems to me to show that they have some sense of shame left.
They've been eating muffins. That looks like Rapidins.
They don't seem to notice us at all. Couldn't you cough?
Gwendolyn, I don't have a cough.
They're looking at us. What approaching?
They're approaching. It's very forward of them.
Let us preserve a dignified silence. This dignified silence is certainly producing an unpleasant effect.
A most distasteful one.
But we won't be the first to speak.
Certainly not.
Mr. Worthen, I have something very particular I must ask you, and much depends on your reply.
Gwendolyn, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
Well, in order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you, of course.
I'm more than satisfactory with what Mr. Moncrief said.
True. In matters of grave importance, style, not sincerity is the vital thing. Mr. Worthen, what explanation can you offer to me for pretending to have a brother? Was it so then you'd have the opportunity of, I don't know, coming up to town to see me as often as possible?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
I have the greatest doubts upon the subject. But I intend to crush them. This is no time for German skepticism. Their explanation seemed quite satisfactory.
Yeah,
Especially Mr. Worthen's.
I'm more than content with what Mr. Moncrief said. His voice alone inspires one with absolute credulity.
Then you think we should forgive him?
Yes. I mean, no!
True! I had forgotten. There are principles at stake which one could not surrender. Which of us shall tell him that his task is not a pleasant one?
Can we not both speak at the same time?
An excellent idea! I nearly speak at the same time as other people. Could you take the time from me?
Certainly.
Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier, that is all.
Our Christian names? Is that all? But we were going to be christened this afternoon.
Really? For my sake, you're prepared to do this terrible thing?
I am.
For my sake, you ready to face this fearful ordeal?
I am.
How absurd it is to talk of the equality of the sexes, where questions of self-sacrifice are concerned. Men are infinitely beyond us.
We are.
They have moments of physical courage of which we women know absolutely nothing.
Darling!
Darling.
Now hold on a minute, please. Just wait a minute, lady. Please, it does not have to be going this fast. Lady Gwendolyn! What does this mean?
Merely that I'm engaged to be married to Mr. Worthen, Mama.
Come here, sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, of physical weakness in the old. Apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trust in me, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the impression that she is attending a more than usually lengthy lecture on the opinion of financial ideals. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I have never undeceived him on any question, ever. I would consider it wrong. Of course, you must understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately from this moment. On this point, as in indeed on all points, I am firm.
I'm engaged to be married to Gwendolyn, Lady Bracknell.
You're nothing of the kind, sir. And now, as regards to Algernon. Algernon!
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
Is this the house in which your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
No. Bunbury does not live here. Bunbury's somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
Oh, well, I killed poor Bunbury poor Mr. Bunbury died just this afternoon.
And what did he die of?
Bunbury? Oh, well, he was quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he the victim of some revolutionary outrage? I was not aware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
No, my dear Aunt Augusta, he was found out. The doctors found out that Bunbury could no longer live, so he died.
He seems to have a great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. I am glad, however, that he made up his mind at last to some definite course of action and acted under proper medical advice. And now that this Mr. Bunbury is out of the way, Mr. Worthing, may I ask, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is now holding in what seems to me a particularly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I'm engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I do not know if there is anything peculiarly exciting in this particular part of Sheridan, but the number of engagements that go on seems to me considerably above the proper average that statistics have laid down for our guidance. I think some preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, may I ask if Miss Cardew is at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in Cheyenne? I merely desire information. Until yesterday, I had no clue there were any persons or families whose origins was a terminal.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew, Lady Bracknell. You will also be pleased to hear that I have in my possession certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, registration, vaccination, confirmation, whooping cough, and measles, both the German and English variety.
A life crowded with incident, I see. Although perhaps too much incident for a young girl. I am not in favor of premature experiences. Come now, Gwendolyn. The time approaches for our departure. We have not a moment to lose. Mr. Worthing, as a matter of form, I had better ask if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Oh, only about $130,000 or so in the funds. That is all. Have a very nice day, Lady Bracknell. It's very pleasant to see you.
A moment, Mr. Worthing. $130,000. And in the funds. Miss Cardew seems to me a most attractive young lady now that I look at her. Come here, dear. Pretty child, your dress is sadly simple and your hair looks almost as nature may have left it, but we can soon alter all of that. A thoroughly experienced tailor produces a really marvelous result in a very brief space of time. I remember recommended one Lady Lansing, and after 3 months her own husband did not recognize her.
And after 6 months, nobody did.
Kindly turn around for me, dear. No, the side profile's what I want. Just as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your side profile. Chin a little higher, dear. Style is largely dependent on the way the chin is worn. They're worn very high just at present. Algernon!
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile.
Cecily is the dearest, sweetest, prettiest girl in the whole world, and I don't care 2 pennies about social possibilities.
Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get in do that. Dear child, you must know that Algernon has nothing but his debts to depend upon.
Hey.
But I do not believe in mercenary marriages. When I married Sheriff Bracknell, I had no fortune of any kind. But I never dreamed of allowing that to stand in my way. Well, I believe I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Cecily, you may kiss me.
Thank you, Aunt Lady Bracknell.
You may also address me as Aunt Augusta for the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
To speak frankly, I am not in favor of long engagements. They give people too much time of getting to know each other's character, which I think is never advisable.
Begging pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot be legally married without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give.
Upon what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an extremely, I may say ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing, but he looks everything. What more could one desire?
Well, it pains me very deeply to have to speak truthfully to you, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew, but the fact of the matter is that I do not approve at all of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon, impossible. He is an intellectual.
I am.
Well, I'm afraid there can be no doubt about the matter, Lady Bracknell. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in Cheyenne on an important question of romance, he obtained admission to my ranch by means of a false pretense of being my brother. Under an assumed name, he drank, I've just been informed by my farmhands, an entire bottle of my personal whiskey. Spirits I was specially reserved for myself. Continuing in his disgraceful deception, he succeeded in the course of the afternoon in alienating the affections of my only ward. Subsequently, he stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin. What makes his conduct all the more heartless is that he knew perfectly well from the first that I have no brother, that I never had a brother, and that I have no intention of having a brother in the future, not even of any kind. I distinctly told him so myself yesterday afternoon.
Mr. Worthen, after careful consideration, I have decided to entirely overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
Well, that's mighty kind of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision on the matter, of course, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Cecily, come here, dear. How old are you?
Well, I'm really only 18, but I always admit to 20 when I go to rodeos.
You are quite right in making some slight alteration. Indeed, a woman should never be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. 18, but admitting to 20 at rodeo. Well, it will not be long before you are of age and free from the restraints of tutelage. So I don't think your guardian's consent is, after all, a matter of any importance.
Beg your pardon for interrupting you again. Lady Bracknell, but I think it is only fair to tell you that, according to the will of her grandfather, Miss Cardew does not come of age until she is, oh, let me see now, 35.
That does not seem to me a grave objection. Cheyenne society is full of women of the very highest birth who, of their own free choice, have remained 35 for years. Lady Dumbleton is an instance of point. She has been 35 ever since she first arrived at the age of 40, which was many years ago now. I don't see why our dear Cecily should not be even more attractive at the age you mentioned than she is at present. There would be a large accumulation of property.
Algie, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Of course I could, Cecily. You know I could.
Yes, I felt it instinctively. But I could not wait all that time. I hate waiting, even 5 minutes for anybody. Makes me rather cross. I'm not punctual myself, I know. But I do enjoy punctuality in others. So waiting, especially to be married, is out of the question.
Well, then what is to be done, Cecily?
I don't know, Mr. Moncrief.
My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states, she positively cannot wait until she is 35. A remark which I am bound to say shows an impatient nature. I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But, my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your hands. The moment you consent to my marriage to Gwendolyn, I will gladly allow an alliance to be formed between your nephew and my woman.
Mr. Worthing, you know what you propose is out of the question.
And a passionate celibacy is all that any of us have to look forward to.
I do not propose that for Gwendolyn. Algernon, of course, could choose for himself. Come now, dear. We run to miss 5, if not 6, trains. To miss any more will expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir? Is that not somewhat premature?
Both these men have expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? The idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you from being baptized. How would Sheriff Bracknell feel if he learned this was the way you were wasting your time and money?
Mr. Worthing, am I to understand that there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon?
I don't think that, seen as the way things are right now, would be much practical use to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
Mr. Worthing, I am grieved to hear such sentiments from you. They savor of the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views which I have completely refuted in 4 of my unpublished sermons. But, given that your current mood is particularly secular, I will return to the church at once. In fact, I have just been informed by the pew opener that for the last hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I am on my way to join her just now, if you'll allow me.
Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to I and Sheriff Bracknell. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies and the very picture of respectability.
It is obviously the same person. May I ask what position she holds in your household?
Oh, I am a celibate, madam.
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has been for the past 3 years Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
She approaches.
He is not. I was told you expect me in the vestry, dear Canon. I've been waiting for you for 1 hour and 3/4.
Prism! Prism, come here! Where is that baby, Prism? 28 years ago, you left Sheriff Bracknell and I's house, number 104 Upper Main Street, in charge of a preambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. Weeks later, through the elaborate investigations of the Cheyenne police, the preambulator was discovered at midnight in an isolated corner of Bayswater. It contained the manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than usually revolting sentimentality. But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day that you just mentioned, a day that is forever branded into my memory, I had prepared as usual to take the baby out of its perambulator, and I had with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag in which I had a work of fiction I had been working on in my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction for which I can never forgive myself, I placed the manuscript in the bassinet and the baby in the handbag.
But where did you deposit the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing.
Miss Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where you deposited that handbag.
One of the larger railway stations in Cheyenne.
Which railway station?
Victoria. The depot lane.
I must retire to my room for a moment. Gwendolyn, will you wait here for me?
If you are not too long, I'll wait here all my life.
What do you think this means, Lady Bracknell?
I dare not even suspect, Dr. Chasuble. I need hardly tell you that in families of high position, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur. They are hardly considered a thing.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
Your guardian has a very emotional nature.
I dislike this noise. It sounds as though he was having an argument. I dislike arguments of any kind. They are always vulgar and often convincing.
It has stopped now.
No, that's not it.
I wish he would arrive at some conclusion.
I mean, the suspense is terrible. Well, I hope it will last.
Is this the handbag, Miss Prism? Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
It seems to be mine. Yes! Here on the lining, a stain that occurred in Leamington from an explosion of a tempered beverage. And here on the lock are my initials. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I'm so excited to have it so unexpectedly restored to me after all these years. It's been a great inconvenience being without it.
Miss Prism, more is returned to you than this handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You.
Yes, Mother.
Mr. Worthing, I am unmarried!
Unmarried? Well, I do not deny that this is a serious blow. But after all, who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why should there be one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you.
Mr. Worthing, there is some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but would you kindly inform me who I am?
I am afraid to tell you that the news I have to give you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently, Algernon's elder brother.
No.
No way. Really? Really? Him.
Algie's elder brother? Well, I always did say I had a brother. I guess I do have a brother after all. Cecily, how could you ever doubt that I have a brother? Dr. Chasuble, my unfortunate brother.
Well, howdy.
Miss Prism, my unfortunate brother.
Howdy.
Gwendolyn, my unfortunate brother.
How do you do?
Algernon, you young scoundrel, you will have to treat me with more respect in the future. Never behaved to me like a brother in all your life.
Oh, well, not till today, old boy. I admit I did my best. However, I was a little bit out of practice.
Yeah. My own. But what don't argue? What is your Christian name now that you have become someone else?
Good heavens, I'd quite forgotten about that. Your decision on the subject of my name is irrevocable, I suppose.
Well, I never change, except in my affections.
What a noble nature you have, Gwendolyn.
Then I suppose the matter must be cleared up at once. A moment on Augusta. At the time when Miss Prism posited the handbag, had I already been christened?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christenings, had been lavished on you by your fond and doting parents.
So then I was christened. That much is settled. But what name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Well, being the oldest, you were naturally christened after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
I cannot at the moment recall what the general's Christian name was.
Oh.
I have no doubt that he had one. He was eccentric, but only in later years. And that was due to the Indian climate and marriage and indigestion and other things of that kind.
Yes. Algernon, can't you remember our father's Christian name?
My dear boy, we were never even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
Wait a moment. His name would appear in the army records of the period, I suppose, Aunt Augusta?
The general was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life. But his name would appear in any of the military listings of the time.
The army lists of the last 40 years are here. These delightful records should be my constant study. And generals. Mallett, Maxwell, Magley, what ghastly names they have. Mockbee, Migsby, Moncrief. Lieutenant, 1840. Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel. General, 1869. Christian names, Ernest John. I always told you my name was Ernest, didn't I, Gwendolyn? Well, it is Ernest after all. I mean, naturally, it is Ernest.
My own Ernest. I knew from the first that you could have no other name.
I remember now. General's Christian name was Ernest. I knew I had a particular reason for disliking the name.
Gwendolyn, it's a terrible thing for a man to find out that all his life he's been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me?
Well, of course I can. I feel you are sure to change.
Gwendolyn.
Oh, Letitia, Frederick at last.
Cecily at last.
Gwendolyn, at last.
My nephew. You seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
The contrary, Aunt Augusta. I've just now realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.
We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Everybody, it's really nice to have you here tonight. I would like to thank some very important people. One person in particular who just doesn't get enough respect. Who does everything I don't ask him to. And somebody back there is Tyler Walkowitz. Please give him a round of applause. All right. So firstly, I want to thank Mike Zioli and David Smith for their set design and construction. I would also like to thank Val Voorhees for all the costumes that she donates and volunteers to our ensemble. So please give her a round of applause. And then there's the reliable Miss Olivia Leone, who helps us with just about everything from makeup to stage movement to whatever it be. Let's give her one too. Now I got a bunch of moms. You know we need them, right? So we got April Word, we got Jill Sullivan and Michelle Burgess, who always prepare our meals for us and make sure these kids are fed and ready every night. But first, I also want to add to the list Ms. Jennifer Smith, who coordinates just about everything that happens outside of this room. Big round of applause, please. Thanks. Lastly, we have a newcomer in the building who started working here this year, and she's been a really wonderful addition to the ensemble. And she gets along really well with the kids, and they feel safe with her, and it makes my job a lot easier, you see. And her name is Alyssa Fry. Anyway, I have to say that these boots are 3 sizes too big for me. And it's going to take me a bit to get off the stage, but I want to say have a lovely evening, enjoy the show.